Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
And Then We Held Hands is a two-player kind of abstract game that's supposed to simulate like a relationship or dealing with problems as you're going through a relationship. And you'll be playing cards on both sides in order to move little rocks around the board in order to try to get into the center. And if you get into the center, I guess it's supposed to represent like peace in the relationship, etc. But you're going to go through like stormy parts of your relationship, like arguments and fighting and going on your first date, I guess, and certain emotions that you'll have throughout a relationship. This is a fairly popular game in this genre, I suppose. I didn't really like Fog of Love. I really don't like this game very much. It's okay. I think the theme or the abstract nature of the game, like kind of what it's going for, but the actual mechanics of the game wasn't something that was drawing me in. I didn't feel like I was having interesting decisions. I feel like you could game it, and then if you game it to win, the theme completely goes away, which I think was kind of holding the whole package together. At the end of the day, I just didn't have very much fun with the game. The theme and the idea of like a relationship and going through all that was interesting to me. I like that. I like that in the game. I'm still waiting for that game that kind of pulls it all in. I didn't feel it was super strong here. Now, I think for the people who, if you're watching this because you're like, wow, this theme kind of works for me, I think I might like this, it plays for a lot more people than that. Now, I don't think it's caught on or been a humongous seller. I don't know. I don't have the sales records because the game itself is just vanilla. It's okay. It's very, very abstract. So you're going to have to like that going in. For us, we didn't have a blast with this one at all. We didn't really have very much fun at all. It's a purge, absolutely, for us. Here is And Then We Held Hands, a little small box. It's not very big. It's like doves, but they also look like hands, if you will. So that's kind of what you're going for. Have a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. You're going to get a little abstract board. Now, this is a two-player only game. The board is double-sided, as you can tell, based on the difficulty of the game. So you're going to have that. You're going to have these beads. Now, these beads in the book and in a lot of other ones were supposed to be different colors. Mine are all the same color, so that's how my set come. I don't know if they all did, but they were supposed to be different colors. It doesn't really change anything up. You're going to get a bunch of cards. These have a really nice feel to them. They really, really do. They have a nice linen finish on them. The cards here are going to have calm, angry, happy, sad, with little generic, almost like generic pictures here. So they are what they are. On this side, you're going to have carefree, eavesdrop, cold, enraged. A little bit more like Dixit type art, I guess, resign, blah, blah. What's really going to be important is the colors on the side. Everything is very easy. The cards are very good quality. I have no problem whatsoever with the components. Here is the rule book. You can see the picture of the components. Once again, these are different colors, but in my set, they all come the same color. You're going to have the cover cards, the objective cards, and the emotion cards. And then here is the game board. So it's all laid out for you. As you go through, you're going to have the goal. Now, the font is really small on this. As my eyes go, it's harder and harder to read. Tells you a little bit about communication and set up with a nice picture right there. Then you're going to have the objectives that you kind of learn. And then you're going to jump on page 4, how to play the game and go through it and kind of what the restrictions are of the emotion cards and the perspective that you're playing, and then how to win the game. There is some losing the game that will be included here as it's a cooperative game, and then you can have the variant that you can utilize with it. The rulebook is pretty good. I was able to learn it without any problems. A little bit of an abstract game. You got to wrap your mind around what you're doing, but I think it works fine in this aspect, and the rules were very clear, although the font was very small. Each of the players will get 6 cards with those set up facing, so you can only see one side of each of the cards. If you look, they each have a color on it, and this will be facing this way. Each of the objective cards are shuffled and dealt into 3 stacks of 8 for the game. Then you will draw the first card off this stack. When these 8 cards are completed, you go to the second stack and then the third stack. If you complete all 3 stacks, both players have the emotional state on 0 and enter the center at the same time, and then you win the game. You lose the game if you run out of emotional cards or you don't have any in front of you, if you're unable to make a move on your turn, or if you're unable to get to the center at the same time, then you will lose the game. Otherwise, you would win the game by meeting the criteria of going through all of these and getting to the center on the same turn. Remember, it's important both of these would move into the center on the same turn at the end. So what you're attempting to do on this is you're attempting to get to a green space on the board. So this player wants to end on a green space. It's very easy. If he wants to move, he can utilize one of the cards. In this case, this one. This was covered up, so he can discard this green and simply move there. At the end of his turn, he would complete this objective, and then a new one would come out. And now what you're trying to do is get to a black one. For the purple guy to get there, in order for the purple guy to get there, you would have to move, say, blue and then black. So he would play this card as a discard, and let's say this one, moving to the blue into the black, then he would accomplish that. Now, you don't have to accomplish an objective on each turn. So let's say you're planning things out, you don't want to move there, that's fine for strategic purposes, which I'm about to get into. But if you happen to meet the criteria, then you would fill the objective. The other little thing is that every time you move at a blue or green, your balance will move over here. Every time you move on a red or black, it moves back. If you end your turn in 0 balance, then you can draw more emotional cards up to, so you have 6 cards. So in this case, if I stopped right there, I could add another card on the end here, and I would have an additional card. Because if not, if you're always out of balance, then you're spending your cards you don't have anymore. Now, you can also use your opponent's cards, not just your own, as you're going through. You kind of communicate a little bit on that as you're going through, but you always want to make sure that your opponent, you're looking at their best interest also, to make sure they can at least move one space. So if I left this person where blue, red, and green wasn't on any of these cards, they would not be able to make a valid move. And that's how you play, and then we held hands. Who should buy this game? Like a therapist who kind of wants to play this through maybe in a therapy session. Couples who might really be into this sort of game. If you tend to like more abstract cooperative games, this would definitely fit that bill. And you just really, really double down on the theme itself, even though it's paper thin and doesn't really fit to the game if you want to win, I guess. Maybe so, kind of. You really need to game the game in order to do well. This was a purge and a miss for us. Not something I want to go back to ever again.